Hey everybody, welcome to TIW Podcast. I'm Eric, and today I watched WWE SmackDown Live episode 1028, 205 Live episode 127, both broadcast on Tuesday, April 30th, 2019. And I also attended a couple of shows. I made a quick trip to Las Vegas to see Cirque du Soleil's Love and Mystére. And I didn't realize that there is a Marvel exhibit that's really cool right there at Treasure Island where Mystére is at. Am I pronouncing Mystére correctly? That's how I've always pronounced it. I don't know if I've ever heard it said out loud. I could easily look it up and see how it's pronounced. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. Okay, I looked it up. I'm going to play it in a second. I've been pronouncing it Mystére. A lady that I talked to pronounced it mystery. And I thought, oh, is she right? Am I wrong? And we were both wrong because in French, I guess if I just knew French, this is like a stupid question anyway. I would just know this. But here we go.
Mystère.
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 Mystère. So, yeah, that's how you pronounce it. I'm going to try to remember that when I get to talking about it. So this is a very quick trip. I'll get to the wrestling in a little bit. And this Las Vegas trip does have a little bit to do with wrestling. I'll get to that in just a second. But it was a super quick trip. I got to the airport just in time. I got there I got to my gate like 10 minutes before boarding started, which that's like the perfect time to get there. Actually, the very perfect time is to walk up right as boarding begins. And actually I could have done that because, I went past my gate to go and get some food. Cause the food places that were on the way there, that's where everybody was. Chris D'Elia talked about this on his podcast a few episodes ago about the what do you call it? Like there's the first Starbucks you see that everybody goes to, but then like around the corner is another Starbucks that nobody is at. So you skip the one for all the suckers and you go to the other one. Same thing with food, any food, because they have like the main food places like right there in the middle of the terminal at Denver International Airport, and that's where everybody is. There's like the food court and stuff, and you have like this billion person long line for McDonald's and stuff, and there's also food over at the other part of the terminal. So it's not very busy. It was like in the middle of the day on a Tuesday. So that those other places weren't as busy. The places in the middle were. And what am I talking about? Anyway, I made it there right in time, and it was nice. But yeah, I was still annoyed that I had to wait like 5 minutes before they started boarding. I was like, come on! I timed this so well, and now I'm having to sit here and wait. But anyway, I had a lot of time to kill before the first show. But I had to pick up Mystére at the box office at Treasure Island. But I didn't want to wait until right before the show because I didn't know if I was going to be able to get to, because they were back to back. There's a 7:30 show. No, a 7 o'clock show of Love. I already mispronounced Mystére. Mystére. 7 o'clock show of Love, and then Mystére at 9:30. And luckily, if you're going to see two Cirque du Soleil shows back to back and you're going to go to them on foot, this is absolutely doable. Either one of them at 7 and one of them at 9:30, in whichever configuration. It works out perfectly. Because there's no reason to get there like super early, because you have assigned seats, you have a specific seat. And if it's on a slow night like a Tuesday, well, I'll get to that. So I picked up my ticket, and then I kept seeing these signs for Avengers STATION. Like, what is that? That seems interesting. I'm gonna go check it out. It is like a museum exhibit, but in universe, as if the Avengers were real. So it's like information about the people, not the actors, but the characters, and like about the technology that's used, and there's like the labs and stuff, like all the Hulk stuff. You have a bunch of costumes used in the movies or on missions, and those are really really cool to see up close in person. They have a lot of replica stuff. They have like a thing where you can try to pick up Mjolnir. Anyone? Mjolnir? There's stuff like that. It is only really up to date to Age of Ultron, though, I think. Because you have Ant-Man in there. So I think it's a little bit after. It's like right after Age of Ultron is how far it goes. Because you have Ant-Man in there, but you don't have the Wasp. You don't have Captain Marvel, which is the newest up until Endgame, of course. You don't have anything from Thor Ragnarok. So no Valkyrie or anything like that. Nothing from Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Actually, nothing from Guardians of the Galaxy at all in this whole exhibit. Because they weren't part of the Avengers yet. They hadn't interacted with the Avengers yet, so that kind of makes sense. But was there anything from? No, there wasn't anything from Guardians of the Galaxy in there. But they had like the pod, the Vision / Ultron pod. I created him. That was really cool to see. And then like a dozen Iron Man suits, including the Hulkbuster, and that is what had me confused a little bit because I can't remember when the Hulkbuster first appeared. It might have been, I guess it probably was in Age of Ultron, and then it was used again in Infinity War, stuff like that. But anyway, it was kind of expensive. It was like with tax, it was like $40 or something like that for a ticket. And then I had to buy some stuff because I had some really cool shirts and everything. So it ended up being a really pricey, spur of the moment thing, but I'm still so excited about Avengers and all of that. And, it was a really fun thing to add on to the trip. So after that, because I got there really like 1 o'clock or something like that. Couldn't check into my hotel until like 4 o'clock. So I had the time to kill anyway. And I was already over there at Treasure Island. It worked out all right. So then I head over to the hotel, get checked in, rest for a little bit, go to Cirque du Soleil Love. And this show is freaking awesome. It is different from other shows, Cirque du Soleil shows that I've seen, in that it's a lot more like ensemble stuff and a lot of dancing, and not nearly as much of like the really the spectacle acts. I mean, there is a ton of stuff. I say that like there's none of that. There is a lot of that, but it's not like the other shows where you get like a whole just chunk of a show that's like multiple chunks of shows that are just focused on a couple of performers. There are a couple of those times, but a lot of the time it's a lot of the dancing. There's some extreme inline skating stunt type stuff, which is really cool. And the way the stage, how the stage moves and evolves, like all of these shows, it's really cool how the stage moves and evolves throughout the show, moves pieces in and out. But then you have all of these sheets, these drapes. What are they called? Drops? No, not drops. Man, I know the technical word for it. It might be drops. I don't know, but you have projections on them. So the video production for this show, like all the motion graphics and stuff, is probably the most. I'd imagine is the most extensive of any of these shows, possibly. Of course, I haven't seen all of them yet, so I may be wrong there. But there's a lot of the kind of image, the psychedelic type of imagery, which is really cool. A lot of archival footage of the Beatles that kind of pays tribute to them directly. Actually see their faces and stuff. And then there's this one part where they have this giant silk thing. I don't even what's the right word for it, but it's like there's these kids on this bed, and I guess it's the Beatles as kids. I don't know. There are a lot of groups of four, I think, that to represent them throughout the years or whatever. And so it's not like literally them, but anyway, and the set is a plus sign. So you have the four lanes, the four sides of the set, which is cool too. And then you also have the four wedges of the audience. But anyway, there's the most memorable part for me, I think, was this part with the silk going over the entire lower part of the audience out from the bed. So there wasn't really there was some aerial stuff going on, but if you were down on the floor for that, then you were just underneath. And maybe there was some cool stuff going on under there. I don't know. Maybe there's some secret meeting going on. I don't know. But excuse me. That was really, really cool because it was just they're floating on top of water or clouds or something. It was just really, really cool. And I recommend it. Love is pretty awesome. And they have the best, all these shows have the best shirts. The Cirque du Soleil shows have the best shirts, except for Crystal. They only had one men's shirt on the tour with them. All the other ones were either junior or women's shirts, and all of those shirts were way cooler than the one men's shirt that they have, especially since the men's shirt is really nice crisp white, which is not gonna last for me at all. I like to get the gray to black, or the darker colors, because I know I'm gonna get food on them or whatever, and I am not good at fighting that battle. But anyway, all the Beatles shirts, I wanted to buy all of the shirts that they had because they're all really, really good. But the one that I did end up getting, it's a black shirt, and it's a polycotton blend. It's super nice, and it has the Beatles love logo on it. A bunch of them were just Beatles shirts. They didn't have Cirque du Soleil stuff on them. So otherwise I would have gotten, there was another shirt that I would have gotten instead of this one, except that it didn't indicate that it was Cirque du Soleil. I want to have a shirt that says it's from this show, as opposed to just a really cool Beatles shirt. Nothing against having a really cool Beatles shirt, but my goal has been to get a cool shirt from the show, and I accomplished that. So then I headed over to Mystére, and it was not as populated, not as many people there for that show because it was at 9:30 on a Tuesday night. But I go give the usher my ticket, and she says, "Oh, is it just you? Well, let me see if I can get you a better seat." Because I was in the last row, way up top, and I got the last row of the lower bowl, which was it was a great seat. I mean, most of the seats are great anyway. But I'm sitting there. I still have 10-15 minutes until the show starts. I made good time getting there from Mirage. Love is at the Mirage, which is just a 10-minute walk. They're next to each other, but these hotels are gigantic, so they are still, even though they're next to each other, they're kind of far from each other, because even just inside the hotel, it's a mile. I don't know. I lose all sense of time and space inside of these hotels and casinos. But I'm scrolling through Facebook, and at the top of my feed, I see, I'm so ready for Mystére. #Mystére at Cirque du Soleil. It's and then a picture of 3 people there in the theater, and I see it's posted 3 minutes ago. and the post is by Alexa Bliss. And so I'm like, holy crap, we're at the same show. And I look across, and in the next section, like basically the same seat that I'm in, but in the next section over, there's Alexa Bliss and a couple of other a couple of her friends, and that was really cool. So I said hey on Twitter, and that was that. After the show, I suggested like, oh, did you get some ideas for Money in the Bank? With the pictures of like the seesaw catapult thing, and then of the guys with the crazy stilts. So I would be pleased and delighted if she came out with stilts for Money in the Bank. That would be pretty fantastic. But it would also be very dangerous. That is not a good environment for stilts in a place where people will just like knock you over. But the show itself was freaking awesome. What was the most memorable things about it? Man, it was like a really exhausting day, but it was so fun at the same time. The ending I felt was kind of abrupt. Like it didn't, as it was happening, I was like, oh, this is the last thing. All right. And that, but it still was a better ending than Zumanity's. Zumanity's ending was just weird because it was all like crowd work stuff at the end. I'm like, this is, I wouldn't choose to do that to end the show. But it's not like a stand-up show where you end with a Q&A type of thing, which works in that format, but for a big production thing with acrobatics acts and everything like that to end with crowd work is weird. Anyway, enough about Zumanity. Back over to Mystére. What were some of the acts that I really liked? There was the guys just climbing up the poles and doing insane stuff up there. That was really cool. Lots and lots of aerial stuff in this one. And I was thinking, like, what if the Flying Graysons were in Cirque du Soleil? First, I think their safety standards are much, much higher than whatever circus that they were at. So they may not have died in an accident anyway. But if they did, I think that Dick Grayson would be an even better superhero. They'd be able to do even more crazy kinds of stuff. Just being around all the Cirque du Soleil people. But I may be that may be disparaging towards regular circus performers, because I'm sure they could do like all this kind of stuff too. That's how they started, right? You gotta start somewhere. You gotta learn somewhere, and then end up at Cirque du Soleil. But as far as you don't just go up to Cirque du Soleil like, hey, I want to do the trapeze. And they're like, okay, we'll teach you how to do it. No, you got to know how to do it already and be like, hey, look how good I am at the trapeze. That kind of thing. Man. This one did also had a lot of group stuff, where like there's so much going on. It was hard to really choose sometimes what to check out. The clown character, there's a couple of clown characters throughout this show. There's the usher, who was really, really funny. He like guided a couple down into the spotlight was on them like before the show. He like guided them down and all the way around, and then in the front row he like borrows somebody's glasses, like, oh, okay, and he points like way at the back of the theater. That was really, really funny. And then the crowd work stuff for this show is really fun, and it didn't end the show. It didn't close out the show, so it worked really well. I mean, the crowd work throughout Zumanity works really well, but ending with it is weird. Anyway, I keep going back to that. Why? What was the other? There's some other really, really cool stuff that I can't like. There's lots of trampoline stuff with like a really long runway trampoline, like in a T pattern, like going out towards the stage and then across the back. That was super cool. There's so many other things that I bought the program, and like in a bundle. I haven't opened it up yet because it's a bundle of the program, the DVD, and the soundtrack. Because that's the soundtrack is the other thing that I'm trying to get for all the shows that have them. Because Crystal doesn't have one that you can buy. It has a soundtrack, but you can't buy it. And then Zumanity doesn't have a CD of their soundtrack. But all the other ones have been buying, and I wish years ago that I had bought a Kuza shirt, because I have the soundtrack and the DVD of it, but I don't have a shirt of it. But I'm gonna try. Oh, also, right when I landed in Las Vegas, I got an email that said there's a new show coming in October to Las Vegas, a new Cirque du Soleil show called Run, and I bought a ticket right away. It's like I got it for like the fourth show that it opens or whatever. So I'll be talking about that on October 30th. And if you want to join me at that show, let me know that you got a ticket for October 30th as well. But anyway, Mystére, so awesome. And yeah, it was kind of I assume that all wrestlers, whenever they post that they're doing something cool, that they know that there's going to be people that just flock to wherever they are and want an opportunity to meet them or whatever. Now I just left the theater directly, but then I made a wrong turn, so I wasn't trying to spot Alexa after the show or anything, but I did end up walking a ways behind her, and I saw that there were a couple of I guess fans with just stacks of Alexa Bliss stuff, like action figures and things, and they were following her, and they're trying to get her attention, and she was just like, oh hey, and then just kept walking. And yeah, those people are lame. And yeah, I mean, I guess shoot your shot, I guess, or something. But it's her day out. It's not a wrestling event. Like, leave them alone. Like, just try to see them at a wrestling event, because that's what they're there for to do. Anyway, it still was really cool. It was really cool that I did see her there and was at the same show, experiencing the same show at the same time. That was really cool. So anyway, okay, so that brings us to segues us into the wrestling aspect. There wasn't anything else to talk about Las Vegas. I got back the next day. It was like less than 24 hours that I was gone, whatever. SmackDown. So my notes. Where are my notes? I did watch the first hour of SmackDown before I headed over to see Love. And so some of my notes are on the Notes app, and then some I wrote afterwards when I watched the rest at home the next day. So Kofi challenges Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens accepts. Becky defeats Bayley, and then Charlotte attacks. The Hardys have to relinquish the title due to Jeff's injury at the hands of Lars Sullivan. And Lars comes out and attacks Matt, and R-Truth tries to help, but he gets attacked as well. We get announced in a non-Moment of Bliss segment. So this is kind of lame, but as we know now, she was busy hanging out in Las Vegas. I think she was there because the next night was the Billboard Awards, which had to have also been in Las Vegas, right? But anyway, because that would be, it's kind of out of the way from where Raw and SmackDown are this week and next week. But Money in the Bank, the men's match will be Ali, Finn, Andrade, and Orton. And it was announced that later on it would be Ali and Finn versus Andrade and Orton in a tag team match. Asuka and Kairi, they defeat a couple of locals, and the Iconics are on commentary for this, and it is so funny. I'm really glad that I stuck around to watch that before I head to the show, because I was going to leave at 5:45, but I ended up leaving at 6 just so I could watch that match, and that was pretty great. the Money in the Bank match for the women, the participants will be Bailey, Mandy, who Sonya said it was going to be one of them too. And Sonya says, no, I think that you should do it. So we have Bailey, Mandy, Ember Moon, and Carmella on the SmackDown side for Money in the Bank. And then we had Roman Reigns defeat the B team in a handicap match, but also with Elias at ringside as a special enforcer referee. That was interesting, I guess. Honestly, I wasn't really paying attention from this point on because I'm getting ready. I have been getting ready for my trip to Anchorage, Alaska this weekend for Arctic Comic Con. Come check it out if you are a listener in Alaska. But yeah, so the rest of the show, we had Ryder and Hawkins versus I jumped to a different page of notes. That was last night. Let's see. Ali pins Andrade, but then gets hit by an RKO. And I was thinking even before this, with Ali and Ricochet in this match, there's going to be a 450 into an RKO at some point by one of them or both of them, maybe at the same time. Then we had Kevin Owens interview Xavier Woods and Big E toys on the Kevin Owens show. And then Kofi came out and attacked. I don't remember what happened. I don't know, but I'm excited for the match. It should be pretty good. Then on 205 Live, we had a 4-man commentary team. David Otunga returns this week, but also Nigel is back. So we had Nigel, David, Vic, and Aiden. So it's kind of interesting to have all of them out there. The team of Lince Dorado and Grand Metalik defeated the undefeated on 205 Live Singh Brothers, formerly known as the Bollywood Boys. It's their first appearance since the very first match in episode 1, and they now have a 50% success rate on 205 Live. Let's see, what is that? D. Brian Kendrick was about to have a match, but he was attacked by Mike Kanellis, and so that match didn't occur. And Kendrick and Tozawa were not too happy about that. Then we had Drew Gulak versus Tony Nese. An excellent match. Go check this out. Tony Nese won. It was a non-title match anyway, but Tony Nese was victorious. His reign of I was trying to combine Tony with terror. It does not work. It's Tony time with a Y. Tony time continues. What percentage of the WWE current champions are named Tony? It's double the percentage of any other name, I believe. So there you go. Actually, I have to think about that. Okay, Seth, there's no other Seth. There's no other Kofi. There's no other Walter. There is no other Jeff or Matt. Wait, there might be another Matt. There's no other, let's see. Who else is there? Kurt and Zach. There are another Kurt or Zach. No, there's 2 Zachs that are champion. Oh my gosh. Zach Gibson over on NXT UK is also currently champion. And so there we go. There you go. A quick investigation into the depths of my memory to find out that there are 2 Tonys and there are 2 Zachs who are champions in WWE at the moment. Let's see. What James Drake? No, he's not a Joe. I think there might be somebody else named Joe who is also a champion right now. John. Are there other Johns? Johnny, James. Johnny, James, and Joe. Those are real close, but they don't count. All right. Anyway, that was a stupid tangent. And that's all for this week's Tuesday of stuff. I will have I gotta watch NXT UK and NXT this week before I head out. So I just have that done and ready to post. So stay tuned for that. I just posted this week's episode of Survivor review, and I gotta do this week's new comics that's coming up, and this week's episode of The Amazing Race, which I'm super excited for. So stay tuned for all of that. If you have seen any Cirque du Soleil shows recently, please tweet me about that and let me know what your favorite acts were from whatever show you saw. I am going to see another show later this month. Actually, I'm seeing 3 more shows this month. Maybe 4. I haven't worked it out yet because I'm going back to Las Vegas for Double or Nothing towards the end of the month. And I am also seeing Ameluna. Whatever it is, it's in Los Angeles right now, and the night before Comic-Con Revolution in Ontario, California, I'm gonna head over to the LA waterfront to see that show. I'm super excited for that. And that show I learned about because Nita Strauss posted about it. So another tie-in to wrestling. If I didn't follow wrestling, and then I didn't follow her because she plays music for wrestling stuff and all of that, then I probably wouldn't have been aware of that show. And it's all coming together and apart at once and the same. What does that mean? Oh, maybe I should order some pizza. I'm so close to getting some rewards. My next batch of rewards dollars. Anyway, let me know what you thought about all these shows and which Cirque du Soleil shows you love by tweeting me at TIW Podcast. Go to TIWpodcast.com for more reviews. If you enjoyed this episode or anything else on the site, please share some links with your friends. Subscribe in iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you enjoy listening. And I'll be back for more real soon. Thanks for listening. This has been TIW Podcast. Stay out there. Stay out there. I messed it up. Just as I've been thinking, this is working. It's kind of working. Stay safe out there, super friends. Bye.